Hi, back in Thailand again. Firstly, Happy New Year to all of my followers. This is January 2025 now. Been a lot of stuff happening in the world since we last talked. So I'm back in Thailand again. I've been in Australia for a couple of years, on and off. I've come back and forth to Thailand just for holidays in that 2 years, but I'm back here now for the time being. Australia was interesting. I tried making a bit of money over there, but I had some successes and some failures, and in the end I failed overall. I could have kept going, I suppose, but it's not where I want to live. I don't want to be in Australia. I want to be here. So I've decided to stop with that endeavour. And funny thing is, if you've been in this game for a little while, you realise that new ideas crop up as you're working on one, you'll get another one. And so I've come up with what hopefully is going to be my last business endeavour. But I'm going to have a crack at it. I've made a good start already. But hopefully I'll just stop having these ideas and just sit on my laurels for a while, just relax, But anyway, I'll have one more go. So just a little quick word about Australia. So Australia was a bit of a shock to me because I hadn't been there for a while. But it's turned into a feminist utopia. Had some really interesting things. So while I was there, the government passed a law in a state level. So all of the states have this law now, and one of the two territories this law applies. And I don't know which one of the two territories it is, but all of the states this law applies, and the law is enthusiastic consent. So all encounters in the physical sense, if you see what I'm saying, between two adults at what they call every level, or so say the typical encounter between a man and a woman starts off with light physical interaction, and progressively, as the hormones take over, things progress. But at each step of the progression, enthusiastic consent must be given by both parties. So what this means is it's his word against hers, or her word against his, in the case of should this go to law, should this become a legal matter. And unless there's been some sort of recording made of the encounter, there's no proof either way as to whether the consent was consensual, was enthusiastically given. But it also means that consent can be withdrawn after the fact, if you like, because consent wasn't given enthusiastically or enthusiastically enough. You see what I mean? Like, this is what it's done is you thought Me Too was bad. in Australia now, you've got nothing, right? What I was doing, as I was endeavouring to improve my financial position over there in Australia, I was just meeting lots and lots of these young men in a business environment, and so the age group is like between 20 and 22 for these young guys. So very tight age bracket. And they're all professionals and making a good wicket. Like 45 of these young guys, maybe as much as 50. I didn't really count them, but there's like a fair amount. And over the course of the 12, 18 months, I was able to, get to know them reasonably well and like have a one-on-one talk, maybe, one-on-one, maybe one-on-two chat with these young fellas. And just out of interest, I was asking them about, whether they were married and what their plans for the future were and all that sort of stuff. And just to a man, literally, none of them were married. And I said, well, have you got girlfriends? And none of them were in any relationships. And I asked them why, why is this going on? Remember, this is one at a time, roughly. Like for most of them, one at a time. But every answer, every single man, to a man, said, the women are assholes. That is a quote, exact quote of what they said. Each one said individually, the women are assholes. That's why we're not dating them. And these guys weren't red-pilled at all. I wouldn't call them red-pilled. They weren't. They were wanting to buy their first house, like get into the housing market, and start a family and get going. Which I thought was a good idea. But they all had their passports, and some of them were heading to Tokyo. They were going over to Japan, which I thought was a bad idea. But that was their first trip overseas without their parents. So they were, there's 3 of them. They went off in a group, 10 days or 14 days or something. They came back. They weren't very impressed. They came back and said that too many people in Japan. So it's a difficult culture to understand for an Aussie, I think, the Japanese. But so that was an interesting little time, a little incident in Australia. And another one was there's in Victoria, the state of Victoria, there's now a secretary for changing men's behaviour. Right, this is the government this is a feminist-controlled government, of course, and media, and this is like feminist utopia. So now they're cracking down on men's behaviour. They're going to change it. When at government level, this government-mandated change has to happen of men's behaviour. So there's a secretary in charge of it. A whole bureaucratic department now has been created to change men's behaviour in Victoria. If that's not sexist, I don't know what is. But there you go. That's Australia. So it was a bit of a culture shock going back for me, and I've had enough of it. I can't live there anymore. They've basically, the young people have traded their freedom for safety, I think, in the end. It's just, it's feminist utopia is what I call it. It's ridiculous. Anyway, I'll probably have a bit more to say about that as I decompress, but just got to say thanks to my subscribers for hanging in there for the duration, and just as I get more sort of back into the groove, I'll make more videos. I've got some new equipment, which is what this one's going to be testing out and seeing if it is an improvement. Happy New Year to everyone, and let's see what we can do this year about getting MGTOW more of a I don't know if we need to make it more of a thing or not. It seems to be a natural sort of thing. And then we've got the 4B movement, which I'll talk about later on. But anyway, Happy New Year.